Hello everybody and welcome back once again. Another edition of Inside the Headset. Here we are, week 1, game 2. I'm with the head coach of the Riverdale Warriors, Coach Ron Aydelott. Last Friday night I was at your game. You took a little trip over to Siegel and talked a little bit about the game. Even though you did do your radio show on Saturday, you've had a little chance for the film to kind of resonate and kind of see once again what happened. Talk to us a little bit about it.
Well, after I watched the film, I didn't think we were very good offensively, and we made a lot of mistakes, don't get me wrong. And in fact, we had a couple of turnovers as well. But I know defensively we played very solidly. I mean, it was obvious by the game. And I think a lot of that had to do with our kids playing a little bit harder possibly than maybe their kids did at times. Now that's not to say anything about Siegel. They played a lot of kids both ways. But I thought our kids really showed a desire to win the football game in some pretty trying conditions. But offensively, as we went back through the film, we were more pleased than we thought we would be. We thought we did a lot more things right than what we had originally thought we would have seen on the film.
Well, felt like the first quarter was just a lot of beating and knocking, which you normally would expect in the first game, and not really trying to get gelled out. Felt like the second quarter, right before you got to the half, you got a little mojo going, and a couple things clicked.
Well, in the second quarter, yes, we did, and we had several opportunities. Well, I think that's probably the most discouraging part. Was we had a chance. We had a chance to possibly open that game up a little bit and give ourselves a little bit of breathing room. But obviously, they're a good football team, and I'm not taking anything away from what they did as well. They had a lot to do with our downfalls as well.
You're just talking about the mistakes they made in that game. You saw an opportunity for your kids, stepped up on what you know and talent on your side of the ball.
Once we flipped the field back, they flipped it with the first turnover, and we responded defensively. Once we flipped it back, I thought we had a couple of chances possibly to tack one or so on in the first half, and then in the second half, I thought we had a couple of opportunities maybe to score that we didn't capitalize on, and we just did, there were some calls, and calls are calls, they're going to happen. And you go back through film, and some, may be questionable, but, obviously that's sort of kind of the way football games are played, but we didn't do the things necessary to finish drives and put the game, comfortably out of the way, or, put it in the bag until later on into the fourth quarter.
Mixed production as far as passing. You're an offensive guy as far as that's what your game is. You call the offense. As far as the production, you felt like it was the running, or did you feel pleased with the passing for a first game, or what was that mix?
Well, actually, it broke down fairly even. I think there was like 400 and some odd yards. There was what was astonishing was there were 89 offensive snaps. And I've never in my life broke down that many snaps in a football game for our team. So obviously we had a lot of snaps, and that's going to bring about some good, some bad, and some ugly. But as far as yardage wise, it was a little bit. It was probably 60%, 65% rushing yardage versus passing yards. But I thought the passing game pulled us out in a couple of fire situations where we could sustain drives because of it.
Let's talk about your next opponent that's going to be visiting here Friday night. He's an experienced coach. He's got 18 seniors and 16 juniors. He came away with a win, and he's got a quarterback that can fling it.
He does have a young kid that's one of their, I guess what you'd call a legacy player now that we're using that term. Had an older brother that played there, and he does spin the ball pretty good, and he replaces a kid that was a senior last year, was an awfully good quarterback, but they've got skilled kids. What they're schematically speaking, offensively, they're very good. They do what they do defensively well. They play a lot of players. They're a veteran playoff team, so the way the system is set now, every game is big. This game is just as big as a district game. So, obviously, we've got a lot of work to do going into football.
What will they do? I mean, other than pass and run, are they in a spread? Or are they in a?
They're a 3-wide, 2-back gun primarily. They'll run some trips, but again, they're going to run a lot of verticals, crossing routes. They're going to run the power play, 2-back power. So they're a good football team. The quarterback's not afraid to run the ball a little bit as well. So they'll make you honest by doing that, going empty and making sure that you take care of him as well.
Backs wise on defense and front line, how do they look? Can they stop teams? I mean, they got some ability to stop.
You know, yes, they do. They obviously, you know, play. You know, the games we've seen have primarily been running teams, and I've been impressed with how they stop. They'll put as many people in the box as they need to stop the run game. Then if you can't pass the ball, then obviously play right into their lap. But you know, we're gonna have to try to mix it up a little bit, and they've got some kids that play offensively that they can flip over on defense when they need them in critical downs. So. You know, they have capabilities to be a very good football team.
Well, I just noticed that they held their opponent, to 6 points last week in that matchup, and they came away with a win. So both of you are sitting at 1-0, and I did feel like it's not say the old Riverdale or the new Riverdale, whatever you want to call it, Riverdale. The Riverdale that I'm known about as far as the kids and the grit, and you took the words out of my mouth in the opening of your comments, was I just felt like you all were. You're right, man. You really wanted to win that ball game. Those kids, regardless of play, that kind of overcomes some of your mistakes from time to time, doesn't it? If you just really
and again, that goes back to what we talked about too last week, as far as our work ethic in the spring, the summer, the winter, and thus far through the fall. That the nucleus, the core of our kids, have a great desire to exhibit pride and to character and those type of things. We might not always be the most talented team out there, but that doesn't mean we can't give you top effort. So,
absolutely.
And when you do that, you'll find that a lot of times things work out for you, just as they do in life. So this group's a fun group to be around, and they have a desire to win. And maybe I worry about them, in some spots because we know the weak areas and that type of thing. But I think when it's all said and done, that 99% of them are going to give the top effort, each and every Friday.
All right. Anything else to the Riverdale fans other than come out and support like we did last Friday night? Just add a few more.
Yeah, we need some folks.
Need some gate, don't you?
Oh well, we could always use that, but the kids need the support. They've worked hard and they deserve that support. So.
And the band will be playing, so it'll be a good atmosphere here Friday night at the reservation.
It'll be nice and cool there Friday night.
Oh, there you go. All right, let's gather up right here. It'll be 7 p.m. Bradley Central Bears will be coming in. And they'll try to knock off the Riverdale Warriors, and the Warriors will try to come out 2-0. We'll see you there at 7 o'clock.